Hashtag I stopped voting ANC before it was cool to do so. Wow, it's amazing how time flies. August is almost finished, and what does that mean? That means that we are only 3 months away before 2025 is done and dusted. Now, whatever happens within the next few months, the fact of the matter is that 2025 will go down as the year that the ANC has administered some of the most severe blows to our country and to us South Africans. 2026 is a date with destiny for us as South Africans. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because we are heading for the local government elections. I know that the electoral trends show that most South Africans don't show up for the local government elections. However, it is my sincere wish that South Africans, we must go all out and mobilize and make sure that South Africa don't treat the next coming election like any other. This high time we must participate, because when you don't participate, you become a spectator in your own country. I know many of us would say that I no longer participate because it doesn't make any difference. I voted for the ANC for the better part of the past 30 years, and I voted for this and that organization. There's no difference. That is wrong. That is the wrong mindset. You can only say that when you assume that there is necessarily a bad party or a good party. There's no good party. There's no good political party. The democratic system works when the party that is voted into power knows that when I'm leading the nation, when we are ruling and governing the nation, if we mess up, we are going to be punished. That's the only way that democracy works. Let me give you an example that you can identify with. You probably have your favorite grocery store. I mean to say, it's going on. Had a tongue twister there. You probably have your favorite supermarket. Say it's, let's say you love Checkers. Checkers is good because of Woolworths. Spar is good because of ShopriteShop. What do I mean? What I mean is that if you go to Spar and you are not treated well, you go to ShopRite. And it is that loss of customers that compel Spar to up their game. It is not because they are a good supermarket. No, it's competition. Competition works. Just look at it. When you hit them in the pocket, when you hit a business that is not measuring up to service level, they feel it in the pocket, they feel it in the bank, and then they up their game. Competition works. So I am saying the same thing about the electoral system. We are where we are today, South Africa. The ANC is as rotten as it is today because they knew our people will go and vote for us. We are the freedom fighters. We liberated this country. They'll vote for us. No, but the democratic system doesn't work because they are good or bad parties. It works because we need to administer the penalty and reward system. That's how people naturally respond to that. If you incentivize people, they will work harder. If you penalize them for one thing or the other, they will change their behavior accordingly. But as long as we have been rewarding the ANC, the worse the ANC has become over time. So please think about this. Participate in the next local government elections. Why am I saying that? No matter what happens in the last 3 months, I repeat, the fact remains that the ANC has dealt us some of the worst blows. They've administered very devastating blows to us as South Africans in our beautiful country. And I am saying that 2026 is the time to punch back. It's time to punch back. 2026. And hard. Not just punch back, but punch back hard. We need to serve the vacation notice to the ANC. We must serve the vacation notice in 2026. And it will hurt, remember, if we out them from Johannesburg, the city of Johannesburg, from the big metros, Tshwane, Ekurhuleni, they are going to feel it. Nelson Mandela, they are going to feel it. eThekwini, they are going to feel it. They'll effectively become a rural party. And after we have served the vacation notice in 2026, in 2029, we must effect the eviction order from government. They must still remain with my home province of Limpopo. They might still remain with Mpumalanga. But they won't survive that. They are not going to survive losing Joburg because you know how greedy they are. They are going to start fighting for positions. Now, 2026 is the year to serve the vacation notice to the ANC. And today, my main purpose is to say, what are the top 10 issues that I think we, as the voters, as South Africans, what are the top 10 reasons why we must punish the ANC? Here are my greatest hits for 2026. My top 10 2026 greatest hits. I don't know. Please start compiling those top 10 and share them with me on the comment section. They're important because they keep us motivated. When you look at that top 10, come rain or shine, you're going to wake up and go and vote in 2026 and deliver that devastating blow to the ANC for what they've done to this country. Now, let me give you, without any further ado, my top 10 list, my greatest hits for 2026. Why I believe the ANC must be punished. I mean, they will have earned this punishment when they eventually get it. Number 10, I believe they need to be punished for their lack of patriotism. I mean, the ANC can sell out this country any time of the day. They have demonstrated, they can tell you that, they can tell you otherwise, but their track record tells you they care nothing for this country. They only love themselves, their families, and the tender. That's the only thing the ANC care about. That's the only thing they're passionate about. Look at the president, for example. He is very slow to act on things that concern South Africa. But when it comes to Para, have you seen, when you look at the report, as to what he did when his farm was broken into? He was vicious. He went all out. So it tells you this reeks of a president and a leadership that cares about their own. They don't care about the country. They are not patriotic at all. Do you still remember Grace Mugabe when she punched a South African? What happened to that case? They don't care. Do you remember what happened to Bushiri? Bushiri came in here He scammed South Africans. He didn't have the papers. The very same government took Bushiri. Actually, the president, Cyril, met with the president of Malawi, a very small country, a country that is very small in terms of the economy, in terms of population. The ANC didn't think twice about selling us out. They took Bushiri, used Waterkloof. I mean, a small country, imagine a small country like Malawi, came here with their president, their secret service was all over OR Tambo as if they are taking over. These traitors of the ANC allowed them to do just that. They've brought nothing but shame. They don't respect the country. They can sell it any time of the day. My number 9 is Endless Talk Shop. Endless Talk Shop. When they realized that they've got nothing to say in 2026, they came up with this scam, national dialogue. I mean, a lot has been said about that one. I'm not going to repeat. This is a make-believe to placate South Africans because they've got nothing to say going into 2026. They're going to say, we have listened, we've gone across the country, now we know what people want, as if they didn't know. But guess what? For doing that, they are going to relieve the country, the taxpayer, of 700 million. And the verdict is out if they are going to stick to that 700 million. They always overshoot the budget. So Endless Talk Shop, the dialogue. Remember, they always make us pay for their mistakes. Bushiri, we are still paying now that they are pretending to want to bring him back. They are just saving face. Why do you take the man out of the country and then you spend money trying to bring him back? They've brought nothing but shame. These are not leaders who are self-respecting. No pride in being South African. You go to Botswana, and Botswana will tell you, my country is not for sale. Even us South Africans, we must do the same. We must begin to be patriotic, stop selling IDs, stop selling government services that are supposed to go to South Africans. Number 8, the economy. South Africa, we have been getting poorer. The economy, think about our economy as a pie or a cake. The cake has been shrinking and we have been increasing. The GDP, those who knows the numbers, the metrics, in 2011, it was $6,900, the share of each person in the country of the economy. Now, in 2025, it is sitting at $6,100 per citizen. When you divide the entire wealth, the economy of South Africa, every goods and services produced in South Africa by the population, it shows you that we're getting poorer. The economy is shrinking. The pie is shrinking because they've mismanaged it. You know how they did it. Number 7, education. We are crying talking about corruption. We are crying talking about crime. We are crying talking about a nation that has lost its soul. And the reason for that is because the education system has been mismanaged. Education is a tool that can be very effective in shaping the kind of South African that we want. A South African who has got personal responsibility, who doesn't vandalize. A South African who do their fair share of responsibility towards the building of the country, not stealing, not selling IDs and stealing from the country, but being a responsible citizen. Instead of strengthening the quality, they've lowered the standard. This is a government that promotes incompetence, even in the sphere of education. When the standard is this high, they bring it down and then pat themselves on the back and said, we are producing the results. Another area is healthcare. Healthcare and education have suffered. What our elite have done is that they've broken healthcare and education, destroyed them, fed off the education and the healthcare system through tenders. You remember the Tembisa hospital, you remember the COVID funds that were stolen. They've broken these systems. And after they've broken them, what did they say? They said, South Africa, you must share. Imagine for a moment, say you are a family, and as a family, you've got parents who promised to take children to school, to feed your children, to look after their health. And before you fulfill that promise, whilst you are failing to fulfill the promise to your family to take care of them, you go and adopt another 5 children. You go and adopt 5 other children and bring them into the family, whilst you have failed the existing children. And you say, no, my children, you need to be gracious, you need to be kind, share what you have with these 5 more children. What do you think the children are going to say in that family? That's what they are doing. They've broken the public healthcare system, they've broken the education system, and after that they said, South Africa, you must share with the rest of Africa. Without fixing the system. Why? Because their families don't use these public services. That's what they've done. My number 5, I'm halfway. My number 5 is cadre deployment. Every corruption, every failed service delivery starts with wrong appointments. South Africa, don't just... Today we're worrying, we're lamenting about the likes of Tebogo Malaka. We are lamenting about cadres who have stolen money, the deputy president. Let me tell you something. It's not enough to look at those who have stolen. We more and more, we must start looking at those who put these people in those positions. Think back to state capture. Stealing public funds, wasting public funds is not a mistake. It is done on purpose. Nobody gets appointed to state agencies, to departments, to whatever, without the president and the ANC, Cadre Deployment Committee. No, you can never get a tender, you can never get nothing unless these people approve of it. So we must stop looking at the likes of Tebogo Malaka. Yes, we must hold them accountable, but we must dig deeper and find out how they ended up in those positions. Unless we look at the appointing authority, we are not going to solve the problem. Let me tell you. Tell me what goes on in the mind of a president who swears in a minister, a corrupt minister, a minister with a very bad track record, and they go and have them sworn in as a minister. What is going on? What is the intention? That's what we need to examine as South Africans. Justice Zondo was speaking about the same thing, that he was at pains to swear in ministers who were known to be incompetent, to have failed citizens, but a president who has sworn to protect South Africa and the public coffers takes this minister who is going to, in whose hands South Africa are going to suffer, they appoint them. And whenever they are forced eventually to act against this minister, they promote them to another department. We need to start training our focus on the appointing authorities. Who is appointing these people and for what purpose? If they overlooked their track record and their qualification, what hidden agenda is there? My number 4 is corruption. We know about the deputy president's mansion, the IDT, like I was talking about. I don't even need to waste my time. That is my number 4. Number 3, immigration. We know the story about the borders. We know that today the healthcare system is crumbling. Everything is crumbling because we have opened our borders. We have not controlled and protected South Africa to make sure that people come here legally, and we must choose who comes into the country. Not everyone must come. You can't, whilst failing to meet the needs of the majority of the population, and go and import poor people to come into South Africa. Obviously, you want to cause conflict. So it is this government that is putting us at loggerheads with fellow Africans because they are failing to do their responsibilities. Go to Zimbabwe, go to Nigeria, go wherever. They are very harsh. They don't negotiate. Musi Maimane was telling us that, no, this is a global problem. Musi Maimane, tell me all about it. Global problem, tell me what Trump is doing. He is even charging 5,000 you pay to go to the United States. Musi Maimane, tell me about the European Union. What are they doing? Every country is tightening. Tell me, the UK, we are not as ignorant as you think. South Africa is the one that wants to pretend to be the Father Christmas. All the other countries are not behaving like South Africa. That's why I'm saying we've got an unpatriotic leadership. Number 2 is unemployment. The less said, the better. We all know the story about this one. And unemployment is being supercharged by immigration. You look at the hospitality industry, the security sector, South Africans are being crowded out of employment. Nothing pains me than the fact that when people visit South Africa, they want to see who South Africans are. They want to know what a vendor speaking person like myself looks like, sounds like. And the next thing, they meet foreigners who speak on behalf of us. And we know South Africa. We know the history of South Africa. Why are we, when you marginalize people economically, you take away their voice. That's what they are doing. They are not employing our children. The ANC is allowing foreigners to take over the jobs that can be done by South Africans. Yes, by all means, go to Africa, employ the brightest, as long as they've got scarce skills, bring them in. I don't hate a fellow African, but come on, South Africa must come first. We cannot overlook. Charity begins at home. We don't even need to discuss that. It's only when it comes to this ANC government and the likes of Musi Maimane where you have to explain the obvious. Number 1, crime and lawlessness. Crime is number 1. The president doesn't seem to even understand the importance of dealing with crime. You can't say, don't excuse crime because of poverty. If you want to tackle poverty after a crime, after you've tackled by tackling unemployment, you will never get it right, because no one is going to invest in a country that is lawless. You need to deal with crime and lawlessness, and then people will invest. The private sector in South Africa is sitting on top of 1.5 trillion internally. We don't even need to go to external investors. But it is confidence. If I want to invest, many a times, I have felt like investing around, for example, around Mamelodi, around Pretoria. But each time you want to invest, you've got to think, but those guys, those extortion syndicates, if I put my business there, they are going to rob me. But you still have the president, Cyril Ramaphosa, saying when he was at the White House, when people were saying crime, which necessarily I don't endorse the strategy of going to wash our dirty linen in front of the whole world. But the comment of the president exposed a very wrong thinking in terms of crime and unemployment. He jumped on to say, poverty, no, we must not allow poverty to excuse crime. When you deal with crime and lawlessness, it will be easier for you to create jobs. South Africans, those are my top 10 reasons why I believe the ANC have earned, more than earned, the punishment that we need to administer. My call is, perhaps let's stop blocking the clinics, blocking whatever. Instead, let's mobilize South Africans to go and vote out these people. Let me know what you think. Hashtag I stopped voting for the ANC before it was cool. Please give me your top 10 reasons why you think we need to punish the ANC. Thank you very much.